Hey, welcome back. I'm Brian Rush, Rush Custom Callers. This is our YouTube channel. I got some bullet points right here. Yeah, I got notes in front of me. I'm going to talk about 4 topics. These are the 4 topics of conversation that we're going to discuss right now, which correlate with the time of year that we're in right now, pretty much everywhere across the country. So number 1 is how coyotes use the wind against us. Number 2, what to do after you hear a distant howl. Number 3, louder is not necessarily better in winter. And number 4, why winter is when calls matter. So I'm going to break down those 4. They're really good topics to discuss. This is the time of year that we're in right now. So these are the 4 topics, and I got some elaborations. So number 1, how coyotes use the wind against you. Coyotes don't care which way the wind is blowing. It sounds completely hypocritical for me to say this out loud. Coyotes only care which way the wind is blowing from when there's a point of interest. Period. That's it. If coyotes are out doing coyote things, if they're mousing, using their ears, using their nose, using their eyes, coyotes are out doing coyote things. If there's no point of interest, the wind direction doesn't matter. Correlate this with your white-tailed deer. So things I've said in the past, as a game caller, when you vocally communicate, you start the conversation, whether it's with a howl, a grunt, you're rattling, or you're using a prey distress sound, the wind direction is very important, but when the animal is out doing its natural thing in its natural environment, wind direction does not matter at that given time when coyotes are out doing coyote things. If the wind mattered that much, where I live in upstate New York with a predominant west-northwest wind, if the buck always walked with the wind to its face so it can smell what it's coming to, every freaking deer we'd have in New York would be in the Pacific. Wind does not matter when there is no point of interest. So keep that in mind. When you show up on stand, recognize where you are, what the habitat is, what the surrounding habitat is, where your perspective from calling is going to be from. That's when the wind freaking matters. When you are the focus of attention as a caller, that's the only time wind matters. So putting yourself to the best perspective with the existing wind direction, as long as your wind is not blowing into the habitat where you expect the animal to be, when you start calling, call the stand. Every single time. If the wind's hitting you in the back of the head and there's absolutely nothing to be seen downwind, go ahead and call the stand. Me personally, I love having a crosswind. I don't like the wind hitting me in the face. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, especially on a daytime set. I like having a crosswind. Where does that animal want to get to? It's going to use its nose, its eyes, its ears. You start the conversation, you call, the animal hears it, it wants to see it, it wants to smell it. Those are the 3 things. I've talked about that before. It's super, super important when you're communicating with pretty much any mammal. Not birds, but mammals. So, how coyotes use the wind against you? They're going to hear it, they're going to want to see it, instinctually, they're going to want to smell it. Remember those 3 things. Those are the 3 most important things. So during that time, so when you're calling on stand, picture you, the focus of attention, you're calling, and it's not just you and your odor, your human odor going downwind, but as your wind goes further down, it's called a scent cone, triangular in shape. You're the apex. The wind's hitting you, and then it's just graduating left and right on the horizon. So things to look for on shot placement for coyotes: recognize where they are when you see them, anticipate where your most downwind portion is, and then cheat a few degrees off to one side. So hypothetically, if I'm on a stand and my wind is actually hitting me in the back of the head and the coyote is coming from the left or the right, picture that scent cone. The further away you get from your point of view, the further away you get, the wider your scent cone is going to get. I'm not going to give you a number. Read the body language of the coyote as it's approaching your downwind. If the coyote's still doing coyote things and you have shot placement, ask the predator to stop. Always ask the predator to stop. There's no reason to shoot at a moving coyote. Pick that shoulder, scapula, shot placement. Ask them to stop. Woo! That's all it takes. Just a simple little quick bark. Ask the coyote to stop before it reaches your scent cone on the downwind side. It's going to audibly examine, what was that sound? That's the green light. Put it on the scapula, aim, squeeze. So, second thing I had was what to do after a distant howl. So, I've said this before as well. If I took your proficient white-tailed deer hunter and your proficient turkey hunter, and I took both of those guys out into the predator woods, the turkey hunter is going to manifest faster into a better predator hunter just from calling dynamics. When to call, when to shut up, when to cut distance. Yeah, cutting distance on coyotes. So your deer hunter, the one thing that your coyote and your deer both have is this. Turkeys do not have this. They're using this and they're using this. So as I'd like to consider myself a pretty proficient turkey hunter, when we're walking into a stand and we get an unprovoked vocalization from a family group of coyotes or an individual coyote, no matter what the time of year, the first thing we do is nothing. We do absolutely nothing, especially when we're hunting heavily agricultural areas. Lots of family groups of coyotes with overlapping home range and core areas that are adjacent to each other. If we hear a family group of coyotes or an individual coyote vocalize when we're walking out into stand, the very first thing we do is absolutely nothing. The reason for this is we know where they are. They let us know unprovoked where their location is. Who else is there? Stand, stop, listen. Who's going to answer? If nothing answers, you know where that coyote is. You know where that family group is. What's the wind doing? Put your plan of attack together. Cut distance. Continue to walk. Obviously, if that coyote unprovoked opens up within a couple hundred yards, that's probably a good spot to make your stand from. If that coyote's a half mile, 3/4 of a mile, if your ear can determine a mile away and you have permission to continue to cut distance, stop, listen. If nothing answers, excuse me, if nothing answers, cut distance on that individual or family group. Just keep walking. Keep walking. Cut distance. Proximity is huge, just like in the turkey woods. If something opens up, readjust accordingly depending on the wind direction. You can't always get away with it, but that's one thing you can use in your advantage. If you're walking out into stand, you get an unprovoked coyote vocalization, you're targeting coyotes. It happens all the time to us where we're walking out into a stand, we hear a vocal, all right, who's going to answer? And then we adjust accordingly. So don't always go to the e-collar, go to the hand call, I have to respond. It's just coyotes doing coyote things. Stop, look, listen, readjust. Really important. That is going to substantially increase your chances for success. The more distance you can cut, coaxing sounds. If you can cut distance, so hypothetically, you're walking out into stand, You get coyotes to vocalize way the heck out in front of you. You got a really good wind direction and nothing answers near you. Go ahead, keep cutting distance. Keep cutting distance. Put yourself into your effective range with the implement that you're shooting adjacent to that timber line. If you can shoot that whole timber line, coaxing sounds, some lip squeaks, sound like a mouse. Or take a rabbit squealer. Muffle the heck out of it. Coaxing sounds, nice and quiet. Peak interest, watch body language, and then adjust accordingly. So when I say adjust accordingly, that's time in the field, read the body language. Don't expect and anticipate that hard charging coyote that comes out. He heard it. If he's intrigued, he's gonna break that sanctuary of cover. He's gonna wanna see it. If you're hunting at night, you got the sanctuary and cover of darkness. Utilize that to the best of your ability, which is pretty simple because it's freaking dark out. Cut distance, call, coaxing sounds. They hear it, they want to see it. They can't see you because it's dark, so then they're going to use their nose. They're going to cheat towards the downwind. So position yourself in a manner where you can shoot towards your downwind, because typically when that animal breaks the sanctuary of cover, it's going to stop. It's going to want to see what it hears. It can't see it because it's dark out. And then instinctually, it's going to want to smell it. It's going to travel towards your downwind, and there's your broadside shot. Ask the predator to stop. Whoo! Give it a bark. Stop. Put it right on the scapula. Drop it. So, third thing, louder is not better in winter. There's no foliage on the trees. Sound travels a lot further. There's no humidity in the air. Sound travels a lot further. I practice this in October and I practice it in March. To me, it doesn't matter about the time of year because I don't want to pop a paper bag under that animal's butt and scare the heck out of it. So my goal is start quiet, graduate my sound progression, even with the same call. So if I go out into a field and I'm just gonna stick with a prey distress sound, the first thing I'm probably gonna do is lip squeaks. Super simple, super quiet, coaxing sounds. There might be a little roll of a hill. Yeah, coyotes bed down, they lay down, they'll chew on something. You may not see that they're in the field that you're standing in. There might be a coyote over a roll of a hill 100 yards away. The ear of a coyote will hear this. Depending on the ambient sound, if it's really windy, you gotta be louder. If it's not very windy, something as simple as that, I've lip squeaked in coyotes from a couple 100 yards away.
Meow. Meow.
Mind-blowing, amazing how well the animal can hear. So I'll start quiet, even in early season, but especially keep this in mind with this time of year, no foliage, it's dry, cold air, no humidity, sound travels a lot further. So this time of year, I still start quiet, graduate my sounds, lip squeaks when I start, and then I'll muffle the call. I'll keep scanning my surroundings. If nothing's popping out, then I'm just going to start graduating my sound. Sound ill, sound sick, make it erratic as you possibly can with back pressure. What you're doing with your fingers on the end of the barrel is affecting what the reed is doing on the inside of the call. How you're blowing is affecting what the reed is doing. All of these things, just listen to what you're doing while you're doing it. Practice makes proficiency, will give you success in the end. So as you're calling, when you go into a stand, especially cold weather months, graduate your sound projection. Quiet, pick it up, rip on it when you have no visuals. The next thing is, if you have a visual, continue to call, watch what it's doing, and then I usually just shut up, watch the body language. What's that coyote do when it breaks that sanctuary cover? Does it want a hard charge and it's coming across the field? Typically what we see is the coyote breaks the sanctuary cover, it heard it, wants to see it, can't see us, it's dark. Now it's going to instinctually want to smell it. So typically the gravitation of the coyote's movement is going to go towards our downwind side. While we're calling, watch the body language. Does it stop? Does it sit? Does its head move? All of these things are for you to determine. Let's just whimper a little bit, see what it does. He's coming. Yeah, not bad. Go for it, bud. Yeah.
Tally ho!
Had a kid. That's how you stop him, bud. Don't get trigger happy. If the coyote is within effective range, if you're happy, I'm happy for you. Go ahead and send it. If that coyote stops, breaks cover, and it stops, and it looks over its shoulder, he's probably got a buddy. It's got a mate. Just wait. If that coyote is not even close to getting to your scent cone, just wait. You got all the time in the world. That coyote comes out, it stops. I'm just painting a picture here. You call, coyote breaks cover, it stops, you keep calling, and then you stop. You already captivated the animal's attention. It's probably going to keep coming. Just pause. Just wait. Watch. If that coyote's head looks over its shoulder, I still wait. I'll call a little bit more. I'll muffle it. It's in the same field. We have line of sight with each other. He knows exactly where the sound's coming from. So I'm going to get erratic. I'm going to muffle the call. I might even turn away a little bit, especially if I have my partner Andy with me. He's going to stay anchored right on that coyote, and he's going to give me the play-by-play of the body language. I might face straight away, projecting my sound further back behind us, not to pinpoint our exact location. And when that coyote comes out, if it looks over its shoulder, we don't shoot. Typically, we never shoot unless the downwind puts something in the background that's not safe to shoot. So at that point, it's one or none. There's been circumstances where we call out a coyote, we know which way the wind's blowing. If the wind's blowing back towards a barn, a pasture, the landowner's house, we're probably going to shoot that coyote because it's going to want to gravitate in that direction, and we don't have a safe backdrop. So we'll probably take that coyote. In a circumstance where your downwind gives you like everything you need to shoot, go ahead and wait. If that coyote's head turns, looks over its shoulder, he's got a buddy. Almost every single time that coyote has a buddy. Now we're gonna wait. When that coyote comes and starts cutting distance towards our downwind, it's cutting distance on sound, but it's also cutting distance on the downwind. So it's kind of traversing at a little bit of an angle so it can smell what it hears, and then it's going to determine, is it or is it not safe? So if that second coyote pops out, I'm always going to take the gimme, the first available. It's in my effective range. That's the closest one. I definitely can still hit the second one, but I'm gonna take the gimme. Now there's a little bit of a breakdown in my mind of what's going to happen. The closest coyote is the closest to the shot, the noise, the negative repercussions of squeezing the trigger. When that trigger breaks, the muzzle goes off, that coyote drops, the second coyote is still behind and it doesn't know what happened. Something not good happened. We introduced a sound, it's scared. We typically don't. There's a time and a place for it, but we typically don't shoot at the second coyote. We howl as loud as we possibly can. That second coyote heard a bang and it's scared, it runs, and the next thing it hears is very loud howling. So if that coyote run back towards that sanctuary of cover, if you see that hard running coyote turn into a lope, it's gonna stop. If that lope has a correlated head turn as it's loping, 100% the coyote is going to stop. We got really good at stopping running coyotes for a follow-up shot and turning a single into a double instead of just mag dumping and spray and pray. Another reason why we like to shoot a bolt action, especially where we live with the Soviet Socialist Republic of New York and the regulations that we have with firearms in New York. I have a bolt action. I love having a bolt action, especially when it's correlated with the regulations that we have here. So that running coyote, shot one, and we howl as loud as we can. No game calls. It's just literally, woo! Anything you coyotes sprint, hopefully turns into a lope, and you get a little bit of a head turn, and it's gonna stop. Stationary coyotes are a hell of a lot easier to shoot at than running coyotes and trying to lead them. So a running coyote, depending on your yardage, 100 yards, you're leading them by half a body length. What I've seen, coyotes at 100, 200 yards, you're almost leading them by a full body length, if not more. It's absolutely amazing to watch a coyote running and you're halfway in front of that coyote and squeeze the trigger, and then you see that snow burst 3 feet behind the coyote's back. Ask the predator to stop. Always ask the coyote to stop. I cannot beat that into your head enough. Trigger, discipline, and patience. Ask the coyote to stop. So, last thing, why winter is when calls matter. Touched on it a little bit. This time of year, there's no foliage, there's no forage, dry air, sound is going to travel a lot further. Quiet sounds are going to go a lot further. Start quiet, graduate your volume. Calls are very important in the wintertime because of this one reason right here. Coyotes breeding season. So right now is the beginning part of January, and then into February, into March, here in upstate New York, actually all of New York, coyote season opens after sunrise, October 1st, and it runs all the way through the last Sunday of March. We have a 6-month-long season. Our peak breeding for coyotes is typically pre-rut. We're getting to that right now into January, the latter part of January pre-rut, into what I would call the peak rut for coyotes, into February, the latter part of February into March. Picture coyote rut like a bell curve. It starts, you have your apex, and then it's going to roll over. Pretty much just like with any species of animal. The coyote gestation period from conception to birth is about 62 days. So when is the optimal time for that bitch female coyote to pup? When should she give birth? When there's frost in the ground? When there's snow on the ground? Not so much. Conducive environment for the animal for sustainability. What does mom need to provide for those kids? Food, shelter, water. 3 simple things that we need for survival as mammals. So that animal, 62-day gestation period, you might have some variables right now of coyotes breeding. It could happen 62 days from right now, early January, early February, into early March. There's still frost in the ground up here. Crappy denning environments, lack of foliage, lack of seasonal habitat, not good. Okay, so you're gonna have those variables. You can't take one trail camera picture of one male mounting a female and say the coyote rut is on. You just witnessed the variable. Typically, as the season progresses, it's like a bell curve. At the apex, the latter part of January, February into March, February, that's our key month, okay? So mid-February into mid-March, into April, now we're getting out of frost, we have foliage, we have the beginning of foliage here, conducive habitat for that animal for sustainability for the pups. So calling this time of year, very important to key in on vocalizations. Out of the den, how the pups are communicating and how the adults are communicating. It's a trigger and instinct to every coyote are those pup sounds, which can be correlized with the ki or the pup distress. The only difference between those two are really the emotion that you're putting into that call. So that coyote, every single coyote that I've ever shot, I try my best to shoot, reload, grab the hand call, and that is what we refer to as the coyote. It can also be called your pup distress. It's the emotion that you're putting into it with the audible sound of the maturity level of what I'm trying to replicate. There was a loud bang, I'm ripping and screaming, I'm a coyote that's hurt, and it's triggering that natural instinct of what that animal heard and what it was doing in its family group when it was born. It's a natural sound that they're used to. And at that point, you're not communicating after a shot. You're not communicating to that animal's natural instinct to feed. You're not communicating to its natural instinct to breed. You're not communicating to its natural instinct to fight. You're communicating to curiosity. Damn near every time, I'm so confident to say curiosity kills the cat. In this case, it's Canis latrans, the eastern coyote. So ripping a shot, calling with the coyote directly after the shot, learn those vocalizations, what they mean, how that animal actually communicates amongst itself in a family group when they're solo. Something I talked about before where you hit that apex of a howl. So your invitational howl. I've done videos on this before. You can clearly hear that sound hit the apex, and then there's a rollover. It's friendly, it's inviting, versus I just pissed in that coyote's Cheerios. There's no rollover. So picture you and I having a conversation, and it's friendly. You can hear the tone of my voice. It's friendly, it's inviting. There's a rollover at the end of my sentence. There's a rollover. When you hear that abrupt stop, picture you and I are having an argument, and it's short, hard syllables, vulgar language. Just picture the F word. F me, F you. It's short, hard syllables. Translate that into coyote language, you pissed in their Cheerios. So this is something else you can listen for. Friendly with a rollover after the apex, or reaching the apex and it just shuts off. You can really take a coyote's temperature just like you took the temperature of that turkey when you're calling. Very easy to do. Listen to what you're hearing for. So one last thing I want to talk about. This time of year, it's getting cold out. Bipolar Mother Nature up here in the Northeast where I live. We had about 10 inches of snow, close to 12 inches of snow. Now there's no snow. Freeze, thaw, warm, cold, reed freeze. It's cold where we are. So something I typically practice on any call that I have, any barrel call. So if I take my call, turn it around backwards, if I can blow air through it backwards, the reed cannot move. You're just blowing air through it backwards. If I can blow air through it backwards, if I flip it around the appropriate way, it's gonna create sound. So from stand to stand to stand, this lanyard typically hangs on the outside of my jacket. When you're done calling, you're successful. If you think of it, take your lanyard and tuck it inside of your outermost layer of clothing, and the ambient air temperature of body heat inside of your jacket is going to keep your reeds from actually freezing, where the reed freezes and sticks to the tone board because of the amount of condensation in our breath. So I practice that. When I get to a stand, I always blow into it backwards. This time of year when it's that cold out, if I can travel air through the call, it's gonna make tone when you're on the stand. If it's that cold out and you have any hesitation and you're driving from stand to stand, take the lanyard right off, throw it on your dashboard, crank the defroster, and cook them. Get them nice and toasty, but the big thing to remember is when you're in the truck or you just step out of the truck, hold it backwards. Blow all of the condensation out to clear any condensation from the reed and the tone board, and you're good to go for the rest of the night. So keep all this in mind. It's going to help you put more dogs on the ground, and I hope you like watching it.